Hey everybody, welcome back to BellTube. Okay, it's that time of the year, you guys. We are taking a look today at books that I am legitimately fired up to read in 2026. This past year has been a total anomaly for me in how I go about putting a reading schedule together. We're going to talk about that a little bit. I've got over 20, I think 3, 4, or 5, it's in the 20s or something, books and series that are absolutely priorities for me in 26, and they are absolutely fun books for the most part. So again, I'm really excited to do this video today. Sit back, grab a beverage. It could be hot, it could be cold, it does not matter. We're going on an adventure today. All right, so if you are a regular viewer of the channel, you know my 2025 was very, very different than the prior year. What I did in 2025, I do not recommend anybody in their right mind ever do, and that is read both the Malazan Book of the Fallen and the Wars of Light and Shadow concurrently. I would flip every other month between a Malazan book and a Wars of Light and Shadow book. And everybody that I'm friends with on BookTube said, Brian, you are going to burn yourself out. That is insane. Do not do that. But did I listen? Of course I didn't listen. I never listened to anybody. I went ahead and did it anyway. And yeah, it's been pretty tough. My reading pace has slowed down for all kinds of reasons. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about what's going to happen in 2026. Both of those series are involved because, of course, in 2026, I will be continuing my read of the Wars of Light and Shadow. And by the way, speaking of shadow, I've noticed in some of these videos, I'm casting shadows on my face with my lighting. Maybe I'll have to move those. I don't know. The next book up for me, right now I'm reading Peril's Gate. This next book is called Trader's Knot, and this will be happening for me in February. And yeah, wait a minute, Brian, it's November. I thought you were doing these every other month. I was until now because I've changed it a little bit for the end of this year. In December of this year, I'm going to read Dust of Dreams, which is book 9 in the Malazan Book of the Fallen. And in January, I'm going to wrap it up. It's really going to be my first read of the year. It's going to be the finale of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, at least the first 10, and it's called The Crippled God. I am really excited for this, and I'll tell you why. I've gone through some of these books, and some I've liked far better than others, although I will say Malazan has absolutely jumped to the top 5 of my all-time favorite series. But what everybody has told me is, you know, this book was this and this book was that, but wait till you get to The Crippled God when everything converges and everything, you know, as much as Malazan can make sense, starts to make sense, and it's just a wonderful book. So I'm starting my 2026 finishing that series, and it is going to be a huge weight off my chest as I cast my gaze throughout the rest of the year because I'm not putting a Malazan book every other month into the calendar. So let's maybe do this today. Let's talk about what I'm going to read in terms of finishing series. Then I'm going to talk about some books that are currently going on. In other words, they're not finished series yet, but I want to get current in them, except for one I kind of misplaced it. But anyway, we'll see. You'll see what I get there. And then we're going to do books that are all totally new to me, haven't read them at all. Some of them I've read the author, but never this particular book. Most of them I've not read the author at all. So let's get into that as well. So after Crippled God in January, where am I here? All right, well, I don't have the physical book yet because I didn't get down to North Carolina for the gala this past weekend, but I have to read book 7 in the Sun Eater series. This is Shadows Upon Time. I know some of you guys have already read this book. It just literally came out, I think, yesterday. I'm filming this on a Thursday. I think it came out either Tuesday or Wednesday. Some of you guys are already done with it. I can't do it that quick, you guys, but I am fired up to read it. I'm not sure which month it's going to happen in. It could happen in February. It could happen in March. It's unknown. I know it's a big book, and for whatever reason, and I'm not sure why, but Sun Eater reads really slow for me. And it's not that the language is so complicated, but for whatever, is going on in that book, I'm just really slow reading it. So I'm going to carve out a couple of weeks minimum to read Shadows Upon Time, but I am really excited to find out what Hadrian the Half-Mortal's destiny is, other than, of course, eating the sun. Who knows? All right, let's talk about another series that I need to finish up with. This is Larry Correa's, and I'm holding up book 1, Son of the Black Sword, but the actual series is called Saga of the Forgotten Warrior, and books 5 and book 6 are out, and the series is completed. It's finished. I've only read through book 4, so I've got 2 books in the Saga of the Forgotten Warrior to read, and I'll tell you, these are incredible. They are almost like fantasy thrillers, and they read really quickly. So I suspect this is easily done in the first half of 2026. What else we got? Oh, this is a series. And I'm going to just kind of rapid fire these. And if you haven't figured out by now, I'm doing this totally edit free today. I'm going to try to do this in one take. We'll see how this goes. All right, let's talk about Josiah Bancroft's series. This is the Books of Babel. I've read the first 2, so the next one up on the list for me is The Hod King. And this is a quartet of books. I don't remember what the technical name is. Beyond, is it quadrilogy? It's not a quadrilogy. See, I'm making up words here. That's what you get when you tune in to BellTube. Hod King, book 3, and I think book 4 is called The Fall of Babel, and it's had mixed reviews, but so far my experience with these first 2 books has been incredible. This is a big chonker, by the way, but these read far quicker to me than something like Sun Eater, and the chapters are really short, so I don't know if just subconsciously I read these faster because, I've got another chapter in me. It's only 5 or 6 pages, no big deal. And meanwhile, 6 or 7 chapters later, you've rocked out, 7 or 8, big sections of this Books of Babel. Fired up for it. All right, where are we? Now let's talk about some books that I need to get current with for me. And the first one, I obviously don't have a physical copy yet. I was not lucky enough to get an ARC, but then again, I didn't apply to get an ARC. So maybe that'll be our one for the road today. No, I already know what our one for the road today is going to be. But this next one to get current with is Jim Butcher's Dresden Files. This is 12 months. When last we left off in Battlegrounds, something very significant in the series happened. And I'm not a big cliffhanger fan, and it didn't really end on a cliffhanger other than an event that clearly is going to change the direction of the series moving forward. And this is possibly the longest it's been between books. I want to say that Battlegrounds maybe came out 4 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer than that. I generally listen to these books on audio because James Marsters does just the best Harry Dresden. In my brain, that's, he's locked in as Harry Dresden, and I want him to tell me the story. And because it's in first person, he really brings the series alive for me. So 12 months, very excited. I think it comes out in January, so I may have to cram that in after The Crippled God, and it actually might be kind of a good change of pace after Malazan. Next up from there, and again, not in any particular order of which month, because this is a big book, and I would have read this when this came out last May, about 6 months ago. But again, when I was bouncing back and forth between Malazan and the Wars of Light and Shadow, when we talk about a book that's over 1,000 pages, it just was not going to land on my list. But I'll say this of Empires in Dust and The Bound and the Broken by Ryan Cahill. In general, these books are the opposite to me of Sun Eater in my reading speed. As slow as I might be on Sun Eater, I am equally as opposite fast on The Bound and the Broken. And I've told people, because many people have said to me, Brian, I really, want to get into The Bound and Broken, but these books are gigantic after the first couple. Here's the truth. The truth is that they read so fast, and there's always something going on. There's just not a lot of wasted space in the books, so your interest is engaged the entire time. And it's not one of those books where you read 5 pages and you remember nothing what happened because nothing really happened. Ryan Cahill does not do that. At least for me, he doesn't do that. So yeah, Of Empires and Dust, it's a priority read that will get me current into his series. All right, so I'm going to hold up a book that I held up in my last video, and I thought this was a completed series. I know the author thought it was a completed series, but he woke up one day and decided, nope, it's not complete. I am talking about Richard Kadri's Sandman Slim series. This is book 12. This is called King Bullet. We thought this is it for our hero, James Stark, Sandman Slim. Richard Kadri's got other ideas. Book 13 is being published, I think, in 2026. I know the book is finished. It's at the editor. It's doing whatever the publishing house is doing with it. But you can bet I will be a day one reader. I sight read these books. I'll be a day one reader on whatever the next Sandman Slim book is. Guaranteed. All right. Talk about getting current in a series that's ongoing. It's my friend JCM Byrne. I've talked about his books all the time on the channel. It's the Hybrid Helix series, and the one that's up next for me is called Suppression of Powers. Well, what kind of powers? Well, Rohan's a superhero. He's a superhero in space. You've heard me go on ad nauseum about Hybrid Helix already. If nothing else, just read these books. This is like my ultimate palate cleansing, type of a read for this coming year for sure. And he's got so many books in the back of his mind right now. And I'm just like excited that we have several years more of Hybrid Helix books to read because they're a lot of fun and they are incredible when you finish up a big epic. Let's talk about a big epic series for a minute that also works as, I want to say, almost like not so much palate cleansers, but brain changers for a period of time. And this is going to be Terry Pratchett's Discworld. I do not know for the life of me, other than the fact that, again, switching Malazan and Wars Light and Shadow back and forth, I don't know how Discworld, and in particular, the City Watch arc, has escaped my monthly TBR as long as it has. I've read the first 3 books. I think the next one up is Jingo, and I want to say there's like 6 or 7 books in the City Watch arc. I have no idea, but I know I need to complete that arc because there's tons of other arcs in Discworld. There's over 30 books. I want to read them all. Maybe not The Color of Magic. I've tried it twice and DNF'd it both times, but every book so far I've read in the City Watch has been spectacular. My favorite so far has been Men at Arms, but I hear that there are some in the City Watch that are even better than that. I'm excited to get into that. I always learn something about not only society, the way that Terry Pratchett writes these books, but I find little hidden nuggets of wisdom that I can incorporate into my own life, done in kind of a satirical way, I should say, in the Discworld books. So yeah, if you're a Discworld fan and you want me to get caught up more in Discworld, you're going to like what's on the list in 2026. Where else are we? Oh, I don't have this on physical book. So, and by the way, anything I don't have on physical book, you're already seeing it by now. We're this deep into the video. I'm showing you a graphic here. All right, so I really do like the Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. I know it is extraordinarily hit or miss for many, many readers. And you don't find a whole lot of midway on this. It's like you get people who just love it, and you get people who are like, noped, and they noped out in like 2 chapters, and that was enough. I am in the camp, obviously, that I love it, but I've never read The Earth of the New Sun. Now, Jimmy Nuts from Chatting with Nuts, and I have a scheduled buddy read of this book. It's tentatively scheduled for the year 2042, but if I can get Jimmy Nuts' calendar to free up at any point in 2026, rest assured we will be reading The Earth of the New Sun. If not, I'm going to be honest, it could be another 18 years. We'll see. It's on you, Jimmy Nuts. You know how that one goes. All right, let's talk about some Lit RPG. Then I'm going to get into some all new to me books. Lit RPG, my favorite new series that I came across in 2025, without a doubt, is Zogarth's The Primal Hunter. I have loved this series, and it's new to me. I am on book 5, will be the next one up for me, and again, this whole point of this video are books that I can't wait to read. I can't wait to see where Zogarth is going with this story, particularly because I've got friends in the lit RPG community that keep telling me these books get better, and I've experienced some lit RPG where the books get worse. And I'm actually dealing with that right now with a book that I'm currently listening to. I'll make another video about that. But Primal Hunter is pretty much universally known as these books continue to improve. I'm here for it. I'm doing them on audio. Can't wait to do that. Of course, anything author Eric Uglin puts out in the good guys, the bad guys, and the grim guys world, it's all in one world, I'm going to be listening to. Why am I going to be listening to it? Because they're narrated by the incredible Neil Helligers. I have sung this guy's praises for years, both before BookTube and during BookTube. I've been telling people that a voice actor you need to listen to is Neil Helligers. Anytime there's a book that comes out in this series, it's a day one for me. I drop what I'm doing. I go right to it. I come back to what I was doing. That's for sure going to happen. Another series that has quite honestly been up and down and inconsistent for me is by Shirtaloon, and this is called He Who Fights with Monsters. There's been books that I thought were excellent. There's been books that I thought were just kind of drivel, and I apologize, I'm sure the author's not watching, but that they took the character in a direction that I don't think anybody wanted the character to go. And then he kind of corrected course, and I don't know if it's a case of it being a web serial and getting feedback on Royal Road or what it is, but He Who Fights with Monsters might be the most inconsistent lit RPG series that I've ever read, because some books reach the pinnacle of excellence in the genre, some books are just awful, and it's hard to want to stop the series. I think I'm on book 12 would be the next one that would be coming out. I'm not going to quit the series because I love the characters that he's built, but I'm really hoping that the direction that the author goes for is one that I'm on board with, because as I look at these books, you guys, there's so many on there. I don't want to take up too much time on a series that is just going to be kind of up and down forever. So here's hoping, crossing my fingers, crossing everything, that He Who Fights with Monsters continues to improve and gets better. Another series that I've had nothing but amazing times in is Meet Your Maker by authors Jonathan McLean and Seth McDuffie. I don't know if book 3 is coming out in 2026, but I do know those guys. And there's no way they're both sitting on their hands writing nothing right now. So since a book, the book 1 came out in 2024, book 2 came out in 2025, I would be shocked if we don't get the third entry in 2026. Again, I will be a day one listener to this. I do it on audio because Jonathan McLean himself, again, a top 5 voice actor talent, in my opinion, reads his own books. And he does probably better than anybody else could do them because he knows the characters intimately well because he created them. So yeah, Meet Your Maker, absolutely. Obviously, if Dungeon Crawler Carl comes out in the new book next year, I will be listening to that. Jeff Hayes is the height of Mount Rushmore of voice actors, so that has to happen. And then I want to share with you another series that I found this year that I completely love, and I wasn't sure about it for the first half of book 1, and this is Discount Dan. Now, Discount Dan, I didn't think was going to be for me. Listening to the first, say, maybe 40 to 50% of book 1. But the second half of book 1 hooked me, and all of book 2 hit me. This is, by the way, by author James A. Hunter. I had a chance to interview him here on BellTube. Just a tremendous guy, knows the industry in and out. Very prolific author. If some of you lit RPG fans recall, he wrote the Viridian Gate Online series. It was really one of the formative series that I read in the genre. Probably read Viridian's Gate, oh God, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, something like that. Anyway, Discount Dan. I'm telling you, if you like Dungeon Crawler Carl and you are cool with, graphic violence and a lot of violence and some horror violence, but all kind of wrapped around satire and funniness, that might be a series for you. All right. We've talked about some lit RPG, we've talked about fantasy, we've talked about science fiction. all of those I've had some experience in those particular series. Now I want to share with you some books that I'm going to be reading that I might have read the author, but not these particular books. This is an author that's an all-time favorite of mine, and I've only read 2 of his books. Talking about Guy Gavriel Kay, and the book on deck for me next up in his catalog, right here, A Song for Our Bone. Some people have told me that this is far away their favorite GGK book that exists. All I know is the people that have told me this, their book tastes tend to align with mine. So when we talk about the title of this video being books I can't wait to read in 2026, this is at the top of the list for, just excitement level. Again, why didn't I read it this year? Guy Gavriel Kay requires some thought, requires some focus, and all my thought and focus was taken up by the prior entries that we talked about. All right, this is a book that was sent to me by the publisher, and I have to apologize because I said to them I would probably read this in June. Well, June was 5 months ago. I still haven't gotten to it yet, but it is a priority read for 2026. It's The Failures by Benjamin Lyer. I know Mike over at Mike's Book Reviews had just the highest praise for this book. Yeah, I think it's a book 1 of a series. And one thing that you're seeing in this video is you're not seeing a whole lot of book 1s. This one is going to be an exception because the publisher sent it to me. Again, because Mike really praised it, I'm willing to do it. And also because there's not a whole back catalog of books that followed this up already in publication. Right now, it's the only one, so it makes this list because I can do it without too much FOMO of, oh my God, I've got books 2, books 3, etc., etc. There you go, Sylvia, that are waiting for me. So I'll give you an example. Back behind me, we've got the Tad Williams, the Dragon Boat Chair books, and I know what Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. That's what they're called. They're not called the Dragon Bone Chair books. All right, Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, I've not read. I have these beautiful broken binding editions behind me somewhere back there, but I have to tell you, I can't do them next year. If they do happen, it'll be at the end of the year, but I really want to take my reading time and put it into books that are very easily digestible and aren't going to be huge chonkers, with some of the exceptions that I mentioned earlier. All right, let's get into an author that I've not read anything about, but I love urban fantasy. I think this clips into a little taste of horror. I'm not sure. My brother in the South, John Minton, sent me this book over a year ago, and being such a good friend that I am, I haven't read it yet, but it's happening. John, it's happening. The Tomb by F. Paul Wilson. This is book 1 in the Repairman Jack urban fantasy. From what I understand, I could be wrong, but Repairman Jack is a fixer. If you've got a problem that nobody else can solve, maybe it's in, the fantastical, maybe it's in the horrific. We don't know. At least I don't know. Maybe some of you guys know. I don't know. You call Repairman Jack. He solves the problem. He fixes things because he's a repairman, right? I know what this book's about. It's called The Tomb, so I'm going to guess there's some horror elements in it. Very excited to read that. What else we got here? Oh my gosh, I am excited about this one. My pal Dennis M. Myers has sent me, I want to say, the first 4 books of his Rise of the Automated Empire series. I haven't been able to get to them yet, but I am committed to starting this series, at least book 1 this year. This is science fiction. I don't know what it's about, but I know John over Talking Story has read this. I believe Andrew at Andrew's Wizardly Reads has read this. Both had high praise. And Dennis is just a really supportive guy of BellTube as a channel, and I want to support him back. And so the least I can do is read his books, or at least book 1 for sure, and we'll go from there. But Dennis, finally, right? Your time has come. Speaking of another guy that is just incredible on BookTube, I love his channel a ton, and this came for me literally from across the planet. Kronk the Book Guy, aka author Michael Kronk, sent me his trilogy of the Immortal Investigations. And he sent me this a while ago. I want to say he probably sent this to me 6 months ago. I've been saving these. This is urban fantasy. We all know I love urban fantasy. I love the Dresden Files, Sandman Slim, Eric Carter, Alex Verus. I love all of that stuff. The Immortal Investigations. definitely a priority. I bet I read all 3 of these easily next year. I love the packaging. I love the design. Michael Cronk is just a blast of a guy. So that's absolutely going to happen. What else we got? Oh, I got to get into these 2. And then we're going to do one for the road. Then I'll let you out of here today. So one of our friends of the channel, Slay, sent me this book, I don't know, 18 months ago, something like that. I've not read any manga, you guys, and I've asked you guys, if I start in manga, where do you think, given my sensibilities, given my tastes, should I start? And a ton of you suggested right here, I should hold it this way, right? It's a big book. This is Berzerk. I don't know anything about it. I did open page 1 and I saw what I saw, and I was like, all right, yeah, these guys know me pretty well. I'll probably like Berzerk. So I suspect you're going to see some Berzerk in 2026. I don't know when, but I think it's going to happen. And the other obvious series that when I asked about manga, people recommended, they said, you know, we've heard this English professor talks about these books from time to time and they blow up on his channel. Well, I'm not an English professor, but I am a former nightclub owner. So maybe we'll get something like former nightclub owner reacts to One Piece. Now, this is my break glass in case of channel emergency backup plan. If the channel completely goes to shit in 2026 and you start seeing a bunch of One Piece videos, you know I will have broken the glass and gotten into One Piece. I'm kidding. I know you guys are huge fandoms of One Piece, and I have seen the live action show on Netflix. I loved it. I have read the first, I want to say maybe 20% of the East Blue, just book 1 that I've got here. Loved that too. One Piece might happen in 2026. If not, probably 2027, but talk about palate cleansers, talk about books that don't require massive focus. I think between Berzerk and One Piece, it'll give my brain a bit of a variety on the menu, so to speak. And because we're not doing these huge mental chonkers like Jani's The Wars of Light and Shadow, or, you know, Steven Erickson's Malazan Book of the Fallen, I'm gonna have, I know what you're saying. You're saying, Brian, you have limited brain space as it is. Yeah, and you wouldn't be wrong there. But I'm going to have more next year because it's not going to be so tied up in big epics. Let's do a one for the road today. And the one for the road today is going to be about leaning into your strengths. I don't think I've talked about this on the channel before, and it's not going to be a real long one. But a lot of the times here at BELLFLASK, we talk about growing and finding new talents and new skills and learning how we can maximize, you know, where we want to go in life in the shortest period of time. But I don't think I ever really talk about leaning into our strengths very much. And I think it's kind of an important topic that we should, because we all have innate strengths, right? You're either born with them or you've learned skills that have become your strength. It's either one or the other, but you all have them. And if you're sitting across, you know, and you're watching this right now and you're going, but I don't have any strengths. Yes, you do. Come on. You know you have strengths. You're just in a shitty mood about it right now, but I promise you, you do have strengths. Here's a plan. Take a piece of paper out, or open up your notes in your phone or whatever, and pick any 3 strengths you believe you have. Now, is my strength going to be, you know, something like total athleticism? I'm going to play in the NFL. No, that's not my strength, but I know where my strengths are. What I'd like you to do is to identify at least 3 of your own, where you're maybe better than average at something, and you would consider them a personal strength. And then ask yourself, how can I lean into these in 2026? How can I use what I'm already good at to accomplish X, Y, and Z? And I think you'll find that if you kind of marinate on this idea, say right now it's kind of like the 3rd week of November-ish or 2nd week of November, if you marinate on this idea for about the rest of the year, say another 5 or 6 weeks, your brain may come up with things that your conscious thought right now isn't. Because I at least for me, have found that when I kind of germinate an idea in here for a little bit and give it time to grow, the strengths absolutely come out, and I figure out ways to use those to do things that I'm really excited to do. And that's what this video is about. This video is about books that I'm excited, that I can't wait to read. My challenge to you, how can you use some of the strength that you have to get excited about something? Because I've got something coming up in 2026. I'm not making any announcements about it yet, at least until January at the earliest, maybe not even then. But I'm thinking about strengths, and I'm thinking about how can I use what I know I'm already capable of to accomplish something completely new and different and novel for me. I challenge you to try to do the same thing for you guys. I would like to know in the comments, do you have some books that you're pretty fired up for 2026? Are they books that, maybe they've been on the back burner for you for a long time? Are they new releases that you've cast your gaze out and this book is coming out on this date and you're a day one reader? You all know that I curate so many of my TBR plans from the comment section. You also know I answer every comment, whether they're really intelligent comments or whether they're like, why am I watching this guy kind of comments? I answer them all, and I tell you why you're watching me, and some of the answers are a little bit snidder than others, but it's good. Anyway, that's what I've got for you guys. Let's get fired up for 2026. Let me know in the comments what you're excited to read. Stay positive, everybody. And of course, here's your fortune.